Aquarius, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your shift reading for the month of April. So we're looking at the shape you are shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So before we get into cards, Aquarius, I want to start by offering you actually an article that has come up in response to the image I got while meditating on your energy. So I was sitting with Aquarius energy for the month of April, and I felt geese. And I was like, okay, what does geese have to do with Aquarius? I don't really know all that much about geese. And then I heard more specifically geese changing habitats. So I was like, okay, weird. I Googled geese changing habitats, and the first article to come up is one from the BBC, and it says, and this is in September 2019, it's entitled, "Wild Geese Change Routes to Cope with Climate Change." It's this changing routes to cope with a changing climate that is pretty clearly applicable, especially in this time as we are all dealing with a pandemic. Okay, so barnacle geese are choosing new feeding sites to cope with climate change, according to Scottish researchers. Blah, blah, blah. They go into the whole thing. Here's something interesting. Okay, it makes sense that the birds went even further north because where snow used to be very common there at the time of their arrival in Norway, these days it is often green, the most nutritious stage. So of course they're going there to feed. What surprised us is that it is mainly the young geese who have shifted. The youngsters are responding to a trend they could not have experienced during their short life. Adult geese are also increasingly shifting north, although they often return to the traditional areas in their old age. So this is pretty interesting. It's like individual geese changed to a new route, and then other geese started learning the new habit from them, according to these findings. And so it's like we're having to shift our patterns. We're having to make pretty big changes to our habitats, to the ways we gather food, to all of these things in the light of COVID-19. And it's like it's almost like peers learning from one another. You know, when we see other people doing it, we go, oh, right, okay, I'll socially isolate as well. Oh, okay, I'll get my groceries in this particular way. I'll adopt this new way of washing my hands. I'll start cleaning in this and take on this new mindset. It's like passed on through the group. And then I think it's also interesting to note that they were so surprised to see the young geese taking on these adaptations that none of them have ever even, like, that's not in their DNA to go in these new routes. That's not part of their instinctual blueprint, supposedly, to go in these new routes, and yet they are. And then it's also interesting how like the older geese go back to the traditional ways. Okay, so all of this is kind of floating in my head for you, Aquarius, as we look to adapting to the new normal, which is very different for a lot of us from what we have called normal up until this point. Okay. Let's pull cards. We're going to go to the Spolia deck here, and we're going to ask, what is the shape that Aquarius is shifting out of in the month of April? What is the shape that Aquarius is shifting out of in the month of April? Woohoo! Okay, shifting out of the Knight of Cups. Come on. Not focusing. There we go. Shifting out of the Knight of Cups energy. Let's see, what is the shape that Aquarius is shifting into in the month of April? Into the Queen of Cups energy. Aha, we have a much more internal expression of a very similar energy. You can see the cards are very similar. They're very much in this cups energy, this water, emotional, intuitive, heart energy here. Instead of, I mean, this makes a lot of sense, honestly, because we're all sort of going to a more internal space as we get deeper and deeper into social isolation. There's an important need. The Knight of Cups emerges from the depths with some sort of epiphany or something emotional that they want to take action on. You know, because knights are about forward movement. So there's this need, there's this like initial impulse to want to move forward with some sort of emotional situation or heart situation, love situation maybe. Could be romance, doesn't have to be. Could be creative, could be like some sort of creative expression, wanting to move forward, but then it's like, no. Because we are being asked to isolate, Aquarius, there is a need to take that momentum that you want to move forward and bring it within with the Queen of Cups. Because there is clearly something stopping your movement here, and there is like healing. I've been seeing this as healing ointment, especially during this time, and the Queen of Cups is such a major healing card. Emotional healing. We also see like the whales in the background, healing of the planet. Like there's all of this. And doesn't this look like the water bearer, which is Aquarius energy? There's some healing inside for you this month, Aquarius, maybe with this social isolation and the slowdown that many of us, not all of us, many of us are experiencing. There's an opportunity for you to heal. And so your forward movement on whatever this heart issue is for you is halted, because there's actually some internal healing of your own intuition and your own emotional processes that needs to happen first before you can move forward. Let's get a little more on that. Okay, before I do, I just want to point this out. So I have this card out from the Mary L. Tarot. This card came out, the Two of Swords came out as your guide through the global pandemic. So if you haven't already checked it out, I did a global pandemic reading a few videos back, so go take a look. And in the Aquarius pull, I pulled out your guide through this global pandemic, and it was the Two of Swords. And so this is making a lot of sense actually now looking at the month of April. How the Two of Swords is being expressed, I think, is like calling you into a freeze on whatever this Knight of Cups energy was that you were moving forward with, calling you into a freeze, a holding pattern, in order to go more internal, in order to move into an energy of like meditation, connecting with your intuition, diving into, you know, the Queen of Cups is like an earthly embodiment of the High Priestess, like a human experience of priestess energy, which is this like larger archetypal energy. You're being asked, I think, to, through very human, very experiential means, maybe even like intentionally meditating or something like that, connect back in with your emotional waves and allow them to inform your intuition, allow you to connect with your intuition again. And this is somehow bringing internal emotional healing before you can move forward. And that's like the gift of the Two of Swords for you during this time. Okay. Let's look at what this shape shift looks like. It's interesting. It's sort of a subtle shift. I mean, it might not feel subtle for you. What you were moving forward on might have been something. I mean, look at this. We got this like knight in shining armor coming out with the Holy Grail, like ta-da! Like that might have been something you were really riding this tidal wave and really ready to move on something. And it's like, nope. back into your own internal space. So that could be feeling like a huge shift for you, or it could be a little subtler for others. Huge shift for some, subtler shift for others. Okay. What does this shift look and feel like for Aquarius in the month of April? We got the Two of Swords again. Yeah, exactly. Putting on the brakes. One more card, please. Needing to think on this. There's some guidance from your higher self. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, you got the Six of Wands, Two of Swords, Hierophant. And I think that order is significant. Two of Swords. I'm not sure if I said Wands. But here's how notice how they're very similarly colored cards. We've got a black background with lots of red. Then the black background with some blue, which seems to be bringing in the Queen of Cups energy into that Two of Swords space. And then we end with not a black background, but still this red energy. So it's like there's still this black background up here, kind of. Okay, so here's how I'm seeing this playing out. We've got this blue emotional heart energy bookending the entire reading. And look at this. These two are facing one another. The Knight of Cups and the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands, it's almost, and I'm seeing it as the Knight of Cups wanting to move forward and the Six of Wands turning around. It's like the same horse. It's the same Knight of Cups having moved forward, and then run right into this blockage of the Two of Swords and then having to turn back. And it's interesting too, because the Six of Wands talks about a collective victory. So it's bringing in like that the Two of Swords is coming into your emotional, mental experience because of the collective energy of this pandemic that's happening. That's kind of like turning, the Knight of Cups has this sense of determination and victory with whatever this is they were ready to move forward on. And then it's almost like, never mind. I'm actually seeing this Six of Wands as like finding victory in retreat. I'm hearing retreat, retreat, retreat. The victory right now is actually in retreating from whatever you were trying to move forward on, Aquarius, which might be frustrating for you. Because sometimes the Two of Swords can be a frustrated energy, not knowing which direction to go, not being able to clearly see the future, feeling like you're kind of in this void space. But again, you are invited into that space. Putting up a boundary, blocking out your energy is very necessary right now, specifically your heart energy, because this is over your heart. You need to retreat into yourself because there is much emotional, intuitive healing to be had in this space. And it's like once you're there, then you reunite with the Hierophant, which is your higher self. The channel between heaven and earth, the channel between you and your concept of a higher power. It's like recommitting to your spiritual practice, recommitting to your connection with Source or God or the universe, however you conceive of this higher power. That's what brings the healing for you, because you are reconnected and recommitted to your intuition thanks to this mandatory freeze, this mandatory isolation, this mandatory Two of Swords. Stopping your movement is actually quite a gift for you, Aquarius, because it's reuniting you with your commitment to your higher self. And I think your higher self has a lot to offer you right now and a lot to teach you about your own and about your own like internal space, your own intuition, your own emotional experiences of your emotions, and that there's somehow that's offering you this healing ointment, this healing balm. There's like so much emotional healing to be had in this space. Aquarius, I like it. We're gonna get you a botanical tarot from Kevin J. Stanton. As you can see, all of these are plants, flowers, and I've been seeing this pandemic as like our structures, our infrastructure, the fabric of what we have come to associate as reality crumbling. And yet we find ourselves in springtime where things are beginning to bloom. And so I'm asking with these botanicals for you, Aquarius, what new growth and new life is sprouting up through the wreckage? What new growth is sprouting up through the rubble for Aquarius this month? All right, what have we got? I think that's the Emperor. It sure is. The flower is Saint John the Conqueror. Emperor energy is energy that understands its power. And we can only really understand our power when we are deeply connected with our internal processes and connected with and sort of humbled by a force greater than us. And it's that ability to check in that helps us to run an empire, for example, from a space of alignment, emotional alignment, spiritual alignment, and utilize our power in a way that promotes healing. And I think you're being invited into this Two of Swords space to do this healing work and reconnection work with yourself, which will then help you to reemerge from that space eventually, and maybe move forward on this, maybe not, who knows, but re-emerge from that space with a newfound understanding of your impact on the people around you and the environments around you and your role within that, the power that you have and the way you express it within a larger system. Which brings me back to the geese. It's interesting too, because the Emperor's been coming out a lot in these readings, and I've been connecting Emperor energy with the energy of an ecosystem, which is a concept that Jordan Rain from Sincerely the Tarot, okay, check him out on Instagram, Sincerely the Tarot, if you haven't already. Jordan talks about Emperor energy as the energy of an ecosystem. And I like that in this botanical, it's not just one power showing up, it's many. Because this is talking about your power in relation to others, in relation to this person's power and this one's power and this one's power, and how collectively your powers combined can work together to create this like symbiotic ecosystem. And I'm relating that to the geese in the beginning because as the ecosystem changes, you know, these geese have adapted over the course of 25 years as they've been slowly dealing with climate change, or I shouldn't say slowly, but gradually dealing with climate change. This COVID thing is happening really, really fast. And we are needing to adapt to an ever-changing ecosystem really, 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 really fast, which is why I think you are being invited to relish in this time of stillness, to be able to go within and really touch base. Because in order to adapt to this changing ecosystem, there is healing internally to be done before we can move forward. That's kind of the energy that's coming through this Aquarius reading. Okay, my friends, I'm going to dive deeper into this with other decks. We're going to use the Aquarian Tarot to get into some clarity on this and see if we can further illuminate some specifics as to how this is playing out in your life. We'll get some oracle guidance as well. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, stick around. At the end of this reading, there will be a preview of that extended reading so that you can make sure it's continuing to resonate. And if it is, and you'd like to view it, click the link in the description box below and it will take you over to Patreon. Patreon is an online community that I've created for folks who are interested in diving deeper into this work with me. If that sounds like you, go over to Patreon. Please read the full description once you get over there on the homepage, and that will tell you how Patreon works, and then you can view the extended reading there. So maybe I'll see you over there in the second half of the reading, but regardless, Aquarius, I'm really grateful for your presence here and that you are joining me in this work. I also want to offer that I am opening up my 10% patron discount to absolutely everyone at this time where people are seeking extra needed personal guidance. So if you'd like a personal reading, they're all 10% off right now, and I am working with folks on payment plans. So unseenhandshealing.com is the place to go for that. All right, Aquarius, take extra good care of yourself during this time, and I'll talk to you soon. No one has won here. These folks have walked away. This person is left with picking up all the mess. It's kind of a mess is what I'm feeling with this. It's an emotional mess. Walk away from situations that are causing you and or others are causing for you this like energy of an emotional mess. Whatever kind of emotional mess you seem to be privy to or a part of, that's what Temperance wants to bring to your attention. And I have a feeling there may be something else. I kind of just want to hold these cards up and let you soak in, take a moment of silence for you to soak in whatever messages are coming through this Five of Swords for you from this higher power.